In the year 2178, Earth had grown far beyond its blue skies and oceans. Humans now lived on the Moon, worked in mining colonies on Mars, and sent ships out toward the edge of the solar system. Space was no longer a dream, it was home. But something was watching. Late one evening, a deep space array in the Arizona desert picked up an unknown signal. At first, scientists thought it was interference. Background radiation, nothing important. But then it repeated, it followed a pattern, not natural, not random. It was a message. The message was clear. It spoke in hundreds of languages at once, from Mandarin to Swahili, Russian to English. It said Earth must surrender. Humanity must stop expanding, stop building, stop reaching beyond its place, or face destruction. The message came from something called the Galactic Council. They called themselves the protectors of peace across the stars. They had watched Earth rise from the shadows of war and disaster, watched humans spread like fire through space. And they had decided Earth was dangerous. The message caused panic. News broke within hours. Social media flooded with fear, jokes, and conspiracy theories. Was it real? Was it a trick? Some said it was just a test from another nation. Others believed it was the end. Behind closed doors, leaders from every major country gathered in secret. In a steel chamber deep below the Earth United Nations headquarters, a decision had to be made. Kneel or fight. Many feared the power of the Council. The signal itself had traveled faster than light. No known Earth system could track it. The Council had found Earth without being seen. They had sent a message that bypassed every defense, but not everyone was ready to give up. A secret team of scientists, engineers, and military strategists formed Project Revenant. Hidden in bunkers and research stations, they began preparing for the worst. Earth had always kept its biggest discoveries out of the public eye. Pieces of strange metal, machines with no known power source, wreckage that had fallen from the sky. Now, those secrets were unlocked. In a forgotten desert base, a single black spacecraft rested under thick steel doors. It had no windows, its hull absorbed light. Its engines were not built by human hands. The ship was called Shadow Viper. No one knew if it would fly. But they had to try. Without a public launch or any announcement, Shadow Viper rose into the sky and vanished into orbit, silent, fast, invisible. While the world waited and argued, something else moved in the dark. A mining station near Saturn stopped responding. Its last image showed a large object, smooth and glowing, sitting still beyond the planet's rings. Not a comet, not a ship. Something else. At the same time, a deep space telescope near Jupiter picked up a cluster of fast-moving shapes. Too fast, too sharp. Then, just like that, they were gone. No trail, no trace, nothing. The Galactic Council was not waiting for an answer. Earth's leaders met again. Fear was growing. Some pushed for surrender. Some begged for peace, but others, those who had studied history, knew that peace was not always given. Sometimes it had to be defended. The president of the Earth United Nations prepared a message. It was not for the people. It was not broadcast on any public system. It was sent into deep space, directly toward the source of the original signal. The message was short. Earth would not kneel, not out of pride, not out of anger, but because surrender meant the end of freedom, the end of progress, and the end of everything that made humanity worth saving. In the shadows of the Moon, more ships were built. Drones were launched into the black. Engineers tested weapons in secret. Artificial intelligence learned how to fight without mercy. Project Revenant moved faster than anything Earth had ever attempted. In just 30 days, Earth had created a new defense grid, trained new crews, and prepared new warships. They were not perfect, but they were ready to resist. Then Shadow Viper returned. Its surface was scratched and scorched. Something had hit it. Something fast, something powerful. But the ship was not empty. Inside its hold were fragments of an alien drone. Pieces that glowed with unknown energy, data that human scientists could barely read. But one thing was clear. The Council was already here. And then it happened again. Satellites around Neptune picked up another object. This time, the image was sharp. A massive vessel, shaped like a blade, hovering just above the edge of the solar system. It did not move. It did not speak. It simply waited. A timer had started. Earth had 100 days. The Council expected silence, but Earth had already chosen. The fight had begun. The Galactic Council believed Earth would panic. They believed humans would fight each other, break down, fall apart. They believed Earth would kneel. They were wrong. Far beyond Earth, in the deep heart of the galaxy, the Council met inside a colossal space station orbiting a red giant star. It was older than most of their member species. Made of black crystal and layered metal, the station hung in space like a crown. Inside, 17 alien races sat around a glowing table. They had ruled their part of the galaxy for thousands of years. Most of them had never seen a human in person. To the Council, humans were a problem, unpredictable, emotional, violent. No other species had risen from stone tools to space travel in such a short time. No other species had built nuclear weapons before uniting their planet. And no species had survived so many self-made disasters and kept going. The Council had watched Earth quietly for decades. They had seen the wars, the pollution, the chaos. But they had also seen the machines, the colonies, the speed at which humans learned. Earth's jump into space had come too fast. Their tech was catching up. And that made the Council nervous. To them, humans were fire. Fire that needed to be put out. Inside the Council chamber, they discussed what Earth might do. Some believed humans would fight. Others believed Earth had no chance. Their fleets were older. Their weapons were smaller. Their reach in space was limited. It would be easy to force Earth into obedience. They decided to send a scout. It was not a large ship. It did not carry troops or weapons of mass destruction. It was a probe, a test. Sent through a dark corridor in space that only the Council knew existed. It slipped past Earth sensors and reached orbit before anyone noticed. The probe was sleek, silent, and cold. It began scanning Earth's satellites. It hacked into systems, downloaded maps, listened to military chatter. It tried to learn what humans were hiding, but Earth had changed. Project Revenant had expanded fast. Earth's defense grid now covered the planet like a steel web. Dozens of new AI systems scanned the skies. One of them found the probe. Shadow Viper was still under repair, but a second ship was ready, smaller, faster, loaded with a new kind of pulse weapon designed just for orbital combat. It launched without delay. The human ship was invisible to radar. Its black body blended into space. It locked onto the alien probe and fired once. The blast ripped through the probe's side, but the probe didn't fall. It fought back. A pulse of blue energy shot out, striking the human ship and sending it spinning. The ship recovered and fired again. This time, the alien probe cracked. Apart. Earth had just won its first space battle. Down on the surface, the message was clear. This was not a simple threat. The Council had already made its move. They were not offering peace. They were planning conquest. Inside a secure room under New Geneva, Earth's president recorded another message. This one was louder. It was sent across multiple bands, aimed directly at the Council's known coordinates. Her voice was calm, but firm. She said Earth would not stop exploring, would not stop growing, and would never kneel to those who thought they owned the stars. Back in the Council's chambers, her message arrived. The room fell silent. Some members were furious, others were amused, a few were afraid. But one thing was now agreed: Earth would not surrender. Earth had declared war. In response, the Council passed a level red resolution. That order had only been used twice in the last 10,000 years. It meant one thing: elimination by force. A fleet was summoned. Hundreds of ships across Council space changed course. Giant carriers, war cruisers, and assault drones all headed for a single point in the sky. The route would take them through the edge of human space, starting at Neptune, but they would not arrive unnoticed. Earth had eyes now, eyes in orbit, eyes near the moon, eyes watching the darkness between the stars. As the fleet moved, Earth watched, and Earth prepared. The shipyards on the moon doubled production. Drones were built in swarms. Engineers worked without sleep. Every nation sent its best to Mars, where the final designs for Earth's first long-range combat ships were being tested. These new ships were faster than anything humans had flown before. Lighter, sharper, and powered by tech taken from the alien wreckage retrieved by Shadow Viper. They were called the Hammer class, not built for defense, built for payback. The Council believed Earth would play by their rules, but Earth had never followed anyone's rules, and now As the stars began to shift and strange energy fields lit up near Neptune's orbit, one thing became certain: the Council had started something, and Earth was going to finish it. The stars above Earth looked calm, but war had already begun. The Galactic Council had sent a warning. Earth had answered. Now, the real test was coming. On the edge of the solar system, just beyond Neptune, something moved through the dark. It was long, smooth, and silver like glass. The ship had no windows, no lights, no heat, but it was alive. It was the Council's first strike, a war probe. This was no scout like before. It carried weapons, shields, and an advanced artificial mind. It was designed to strike without warning, to test Earth's strength, and to leave no survivors. It passed through the asteroid belt like smoke, silent and fast. Earth's early warning systems picked up strange readings. Gravity shifted near Pluto. Signals were blocked. Then a sudden burst of radiation hit a satellite. Something was here. Deep under the Rocky Mountains, Project Revenant went into full alert. Their new tracking is locked onto the probe's trail. Orders were given. Shadow Viper was still grounded, but another ship was ready. The Revenant crew launched Falcon Red 1, a newly built combat interceptor. It had heat-reflecting armor and plasma spike cannons. Its pilot, Captain Ardencole, was a veteran test pilot with nothing left to lose. He launched into orbit with one mission: find the intruder and take it down. As Falcon Red 1 climbed above Earth's atmosphere, sensors picked up the enemy. The probe had reached Earth's outer defense ring. Without hesitation, it fired a blast of blue energy that sliced through a defense satellite. Then it turned and aimed for Earth itself. Falcon Red 1 hit full speed. The two ships met just above the upper atmosphere. Arden locked on and fired first. Plasma rounds hit the probe's shields and burst into sparks. The probe twisted and returned. Fire! A bolt of energy struck Falcon Red 1's left wing, spinning the ship. Arden fought the controls, regained balance, and dove under the probe. He fired a new weapon. A pulse disruptor, built from alien tech. It sent a shock wave through the probe systems, frying its sensors. The probe stalled. Arden hit it again, this time aiming for its core. The blast cracked its smooth shell. Light poured out. The probe shuddered and exploded. Earth had just defeated its first real threat. The world celebrated quietly. Government stayed silent, but the people knew something had happened. They could feel the tension in the air. Skies had gone strangely quiet. Military bases stayed on high alert. Something was coming, and the silence only made it louder. Inside Project Revenant's base, the remains of the probe were collected. Scientists studied the wreckage and found a signal inside its black box. It was a live transmission, a direct feed to the Council. Earth had just made its first kill, and the Council had watched it happen in real time. Hours later, in the chambers of the Galactic Council, a decision was made. Earth was now a level red threat. That label had not been used in centuries. It meant Earth was no longer just a risk. It was a target. Across Council space, fleets were activated. Warships turned their weapons toward the solar system. Commanders received orders. There would be no more warnings. Earth would be invaded. But Earth was listening. Hidden listening posts near Mars picked up strange engine signals. Shipyards near the moon detected faint power surges in deep space. It was clear now. The Council had launched something big. Back on Earth, the President called a meeting of the Earth United Nations. For the first time, every leader agreed. No more waiting. No more hiding. It was time to fight. Project Revenant was given full command of Earth space defense. More Hammer-class ships were launched. AI drones were sent to Jupiter. Railguns were placed on orbiting stations. The moon was turned into a shield. But Earth didn't just want to defend. Earth wanted to strike back. That's when the Revenant team proposed a bold move. They would send a small team to hit a Council fuel station located in deep space. It was risky, dangerous, almost impossible. But if they could do it, the Council would know Earth was not just defending. Earth was hunting. The mission was approved. Captain Ardencole and his crew prepared for the operation. In the shadows of space, the Council was getting ready for war. But what they didn't know was that Earth had already started it, and humans had just begun to show what they could do. The Galactic Council believed Earth would crumble when the real invasion began. They had sent their warning. They had sent a probe. Now, they were sending a fleet. But Earth was not waiting anymore. On the far edge of the solar system, Near the cold orbit of Neptune, lights appeared in the dark. Dozens of Council warships came out of fold space, their engines lit up the sky. Like distant stars, the ships were massive, sharp, covered in armor that looked like flowing metal. They moved with perfect control, like machines with one mind. The invasion had started. Their first stop was Mars. The red planet had once been dry and silent. Now, it held cities under domes, power stations, mining towers, and thousands of humans. The Council expected an easy win. They believed the colonies would surrender without a fight. They were wrong. Mars had prepared. Beneath the surface, Project Revenant had built bunkers, hangars, and weapons. Human forces were ready. The first wave of Council dropships entered Mars orbit and began descent. As they passed through the thin atmosphere, they were hit by guided rail slugs from hidden turrets. Four ships exploded before they touched the ground. Then the ambush began. Human soldiers, armed with plasma rifles and powered armor, rose from underground tunnels and hit the landing zones hard. Drones flew overhead, launching spike missiles and EMP bursts. The Council troops were advanced, stronger, and faster, but they were not ready for Earth's tactics. Humans fought dirty. They used terrain, shadows, and chaos. They cut power lines, jammed signals, and used decoys. The Council squads lost coordination within minutes. One human unit, Calcine Ghostfire, struck from behind enemy lines, disabling a command walker and capturing its pilot. It was the first living alien captured in battle. By the end of the Mars fight, 5 Council ships were down, hundreds of their soldiers were lost, and the rest pulled back into orbit. Earth had won the first real battle. News spread fast across the solar system. It couldn't be hidden anymore. People all over Earth saw the footage. Alien ships falling, human fighters standing tall. Fear turned into fire. Across every continent, people volunteered. Factories doubled output. Mars was no longer a colony. It was a front line, but the Council fleet was not done. They pushed forward, moving toward Earth's orbit. On the way, they sent drones to target defense stations near the moon. This time, they used stealth, but Earth had eyes everywhere. One of the moon's defense satellites picked up a heat trail. It matched Council energy signatures. The Revenant Command Center responded instantly. The orbital railguns were turned toward the black of space. When the Council drones approached, they were hit by a wall of iron and fire. Half were destroyed in the first 10 seconds. The rest scattered, but Earth's tracking systems were faster. Drones exploded like sparks in the sky. The Council ships moved in closer. From the surface, they looked like stars slowly growing brighter. Cities went into lockdown. Defense teams took positions. Earth's skies were filled with the buzz of aircraft and satellite warnings. Then came the call. One of the Hammer-class ships, the Invictus, was given clearance to engage. Its captain, Commander Laya Reyes, led a crew of 40 and carried Earth's newest weapon, a dark matter cannon. It had never been used in real combat. The Invictus launched straight into the path of the enemy. It met to Council cruisers above the Pacific Ocean. The ships exchanged fire. Blasts of red and blue energy lit up the sky. Earth's forces took heavy hits, but Invictus pushed through, diving under one cruiser and hitting it with a full burst from the dark matter cannon. The alien cruiser broke apart mid-air. The second cruiser tried to retreat, but was intercepted by 2 more Hammer-class ships. Within minutes, it too was destroyed. Earth had held the line again. In the Council war room, the mood had changed. They no longer saw Earth as a wild world needing control. Now, they saw it as a threat to be removed. Council leaders voted again. They would send the full force of their deep fleet, but back on Earth, something had already changed. Humanity had proven they could fight. Now, they wanted more than defense. They wanted justice, and the Council was about to find out what happened when humans stopped surviving and started striking back. The Council believed Earth would retreat after the invasion. They thought the first battles would break humanity's spirit. But Earth had only become stronger. Now, it was time to hit back. Project Revenant had spent years studying captured alien tech. After the wreckage of the Council probe and the downed cruisers were brought in, Earth's engineers got to work. They learned how the Council ships folded space. They mapped the energy patterns inside their engines. They found weak points in their armor. The result was a new kind of weapon. The Hammer-class ships had already proven themselves. But now, Earth needed something faster, harder to track, and able to strike far from home. The answer was the Revenant. Phantom series, light, silent, and built for stealth attacks deep in enemy space, the first target was a Council fuel depot orbiting a gas giant near a star system called Virex 9. The depot supplied energy to dozens of Council ships. It was protected by auto turrets and 2 guard ships. No one had ever attacked it before. The Council believed no one dared, but Earth had nothing to lose. A small strike team was chosen. 3 Phantom ships, 6 pilots, no backup. Captain Arden Cole led the team. He had already fought over Earth and Mars. Now, he would carry the war into Council territory. The Phantoms launched from a hidden base beyond Mars. They traveled in fold space, using new drives based on stolen Council tech. Within hours, they reached Virex 9. The gas giant below was massive and blue, with storms spinning like tornadoes. The fuel depot floated in high orbit, glowing with stored energy. The Phantoms approached in total silence. Their hulls absorbed light. Their engines ran cold. They slipped past the guard ships and aimed at the depot's main core. Captain Cole gave the signal. Each ship fired a single torpedo, loaded with fusion charge and smart metal fragments. The blast struck the depot in 3 places at once. The explosion lit up space. The guard ships reacted too late. They fired blindly, but the Phantoms were already gone, diving behind the gas giant and vanishing into full-space. By the time the Council sent reinforcements, the depot was gone. It was the first time in history that a Council supply line had been attacked. Back on Earth, the news spread quickly across every secure channel. People who once lived in fear now walked with pride. For the first time, humans had gone into enemy space and returned alive. But the Council was enraged. They called an emergency assembly. The vote was passed without debate. They would use Forbidden's technology, a weapon so dangerous that even the oldest Council members had sworn never to activate it. They called it the Sunbreaker. The Sunbreaker was more than a weapon. It was a warning to the galaxy. The Council had built it centuries ago, hidden inside a dead moon near a dying star. It was a machine that could reach into a star's heart and rip it apart, turning entire systems into firestorms. It had never been used until now. They believed Earth needed to see its sunfall. Project Revenant detected strange signals from deep space. A burst of energy, followed by gravity waves that did not belong near the solar system. A scout drone was sent out. What it found was terrifying. The Sunbreaker had moved. It was heading toward Earth's star. Earth's leaders met in silence. They had prepared for war, not for this. If the Sunbreaker reached the sun, it would destroy the entire system. Earth, Mars, the moon, everything would vanish in light. There was only one choice: stop it before it got too close. A new team was assembled. The best pilots, engineers, and operatives from Earth and Mars. Their mission was simple but deadly: infiltrate the Sunbreaker. Plant charges, destroy it from the inside. The ship chosen for the mission was the Night Wind, fast, silent, modified. With the latest stealth tech, it carried 5 crew members. Among them was Commander Lia Reyes, known for her attack above the Pacific. She had survived worse, but this time, survival was not promised. The Night Wind launched under total silence. It followed the path of the gravity waves and reached the dead moon where the Sunbreaker rested. It was unlike anything they had seen. The weapon looked like a black tower rising from the moon's crust, its shape constantly shifting like liquid metal. Massive spires circled its base, humming with dark energy. The crew landed far from the main core and moved on foot, using signal blockers to hide their presence. Inside the structure, the walls pulsed with power. Lights moved through metal veins. Machines scanned the halls without sound. They had 20 minutes before the Sunbreaker went live. They reached the core. 3 members worked fast, planting charges near the power chambers. Commander Reyes and her tech officer accessed the main system. What they saw made their blood run cold. The Sunbreaker was already locked onto Earth's star. Activation was less than 10 minutes away. They needed more time. The tech officer stayed behind, holding the system open. He knew what it meant. He would not leave. The rest of the team rushed back to the ship. As they flew away, the charges went off. The Sunbreaker shook, then cracked, then burned from within. The black tower split in half and vanished in a wave of white light. The Night Wind escaped just as the moon began to collapse. Earth was safe, for now, but the cost had been high. The Council received news of the Sunbreaker's destruction. They did not send another threat, they sent a message. You have earned a seat among the stars. Or a war that will never end, Earth read the message. And began preparing its answer. The Council had reached their limit. They had threatened Earth. They had invaded Mars. They had sent the Sunbreaker. And Earth had answered each time. Now the Council sent one final message. Earth had a choice: accept a seat at the Galactic table under Council control, or face a war with no end, no peace, no future. But Earth already knew the answer. Inside Project Revenant's command center, Earth's leaders stood around a circular display. On the screen were dozens of red markers, each one a Council fleet, heading toward the edge of the solar system. There would be no more waiting. Operation Final Dawn was approved. The plan had been ready for weeks. Earth's forces had grown fast. The moon now held launch bays and cannon platforms. Mars had become a war factory. Stations floated above Venus, powering long-range weapons. The solar system had turned into a fortress, but Earth didn't want to hide behind walls. Earth was going to strike the heart of the enemy. The target was the Council's capital world, a planet named Trelix Prime, covered in cities, guarded by a massive energy field, and surrounded by a defense ring of battle cruisers. No outsider had ever seen its surface. No enemy had ever come close. Until now, the combined forces of Earth, Mars, and the Moon launched in a single formation. Over 100 ships moved as one. They were led by the Invictus, now upgraded with a new core engine and an experimental gravity cannon. Captain Arden Cole flew point with his Phantom squad. Commander Lia Reyes led the main assault group. Earth's newest AI systems controlled the fleet formations. There was no room for error. The fleet jumped into Council space using a hidden fold point recovered from the remains of the Sunbreaker's data core. The Council did not expect it. Earth ships appeared near Trelix Prime and opened fire before the Council fleets could react. Rail slugs slammed into defense towers. Plasma rounds burned through shields. Drones spread in every direction, jamming signals and disabling long-range weapons. The battle had begun. Council cruisers rushed to defend their world. They outnumbered the humans. Their ships were larger, older, more advanced. But Earth's forces were faster, more coordinated, and more desperate. In the center of the chaos, Invictus pushed through the enemy lines, heading straight for the surface of Trelix Prime. The gravity cannon charged. With one shot, it cracked the shield that had protected the planet for thousands of years. Earth's troops began landing. On the surface, the Council's central tower stood tall and silver, pulsing with energy. The tower had never been touched by war. Now, it echoed with the sound of human boots and the flash of rail fire. Inside the tower, the Council leaders watched in silence. They had misjudged humanity. They had seen Earth as a wild world, full of noise and chaos. But now, they saw something else. They saw unity. They saw purpose. They saw vengeance. With their fleets damaged, their core systems exposed, and their secrets torn open, the Council had one choice left: surrender. The Council sent a message through the open battlefield. The war was over. A treaty would be signed. Earth would be recognized as a sovereign power, not under control. Not in chains, equal. The human fleet pulled back. Ships were grouped, drones returned, and for the first time in galactic history, a new voice was added to the table. A human voice. Earth had not just survived. It had earned its place, not by asking, but by rising. They came to warn Earth. They came to control it. But Earth did not kneel. Earth fought back, and the galaxy would never forget it.